Welcome this evening to our orientation for week two of our summer season at Rotary Scout Reservation. Um, Thanks for all of you for joining us here tonight. My name is Brian Murray. I'm the camp director at RSR. Our program director is Quinn Ciccalella. Quinn would normally be on the meeting here with me tonight, but he's feeling a little bit under the weather, so I told him to sit this one out. And the humidity was a little rough today for a lot of people, so we're going to err on the side of caution. And I will take the meeting from here. If there's anything that comes up when we're talking about program stuff that I'm not able to provide you with an answer with, that's more in Quinn's department. I promise I'll get that response, get that answer for you, and share that with you at a later date. Send that out via email. But hopefully, I should be able to answer everything for you there. So why don't we just jump in here? One thing I wanted to mention is that there is a traffic advisory for folks coming to camp this summer. If you are coming from the north via Brunswick, there is a culvert repair job that's being done on Route 351. You can kind of see there on the map about where that location is. For many of you, this won't affect you. If you're coming from Albany, if you're coming from the south, kind of West Sand Lake area, this is not going to affect you. You're going to turn into Post and Kill before you get there. But if you are coming from the north, it's advised that you take State Route 355, Garfield Road, or State Route 2. It's going to add a little bit of time to your journey because there's no easy detours around these parts here. But those are the alternate routes if you're coming from Brunswick or the north part. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about, we'll start with Sunday check-in procedures. Our check-in time on Sunday is 1 o'clock. That is when we will begin our process of the staff coming up and working with the troops to start moving you in. So we ask that you not gather before 12:30 up in the parking lot. I know different distances of travel, timing, and may be difficult to time that, but the if you get there before 12:30, I understand the units need a little bit of time to make sure everybody's there, take attendance, get everybody kind of situated. But if you're there for too long, you got a bunch of kids sitting out in the hot sun in the parking lot without anything to do. So we'd like you to get there as close to 1 as possible. So as we're still finishing up some tasks on our end before we can get up there and give you a proper greeting. The staff guides will report to the parking lot to greet the troop by 1 o'clock. And when that happens, we basically ask the scoutmaster or whoever's in charge of the troop for that week to come down to the office and check in with me to bring a printed copy of your roster down that tells us who's there, who's actually in the parking lot and has arrived, so we can compare that against the registration. Check in with me usually is very quick. We just get you out and on your way. But while you're doing that, the staff guide will take the rest of the troop down to the campsite so that they can start getting their gear into their tents and start going to see the health officer for the med checks. For that reason, we ask that whoever is going with the scouts down to the campsite, they're the ones who should be taking the medical forms with them, not the scoutmaster down to the office, because they may get to the medical officer before the scoutmaster gets back. So then the med forms down with them, please. You will be given one vehicle permit per troop that will be able to be used to bring gear down, group gear, troop gear down to the campsite. We do only issue one vehicle permit per troop and ask that you keep to that. If you have more than one vehicle that needs to transport goods, we ask that you do a relay. First troop truck goes in, drops off the gear, comes back up, hands off the pass to somebody else and back down again. Several of our road areas are really single lane. There's no passability. And so we try to minimize the traffic on Sunday because otherwise, between all the troop vehicles and camp vehicles trying to do their jobs, it can get really tight in spaces. And we don't want people being forced to drive off the roads into fields or things like that. And there's some places where that's just not possible. So please keep it to one vehicle. And that permit should be returned to the office after check-in. That is not for permanent use for the rest of the week. If there's special considerations, handicapping conditions, something along those lines that necessitates the use of the vehicle during the week, that's a conversation with me and we can accommodate that, but that would be separate from the Sunday check-in pass. We know that many units come in with trailers that have lots of troop gear and stuff. That's great. That's not a problem. Those trailers can be brought to and left down at the campsite for the week. We just ask that when you park that trailer, that you do so in a way in which we are not bringing any vehicles or trailers into the campsite. We want to keep them from getting torn up, and we want to make sure that the scouts in those campsites are safe and we don't have vehicles driving into them. And also, keep them from blocking the roads too. And each site's a little bit different and unique when it comes to these things. But just check the layout there. And each site usually has a bit of a transition space between the road and the campsite, which would be appropriate for parking a trailer. Talk about a few health and safety items here. We do have the fact that all adults must have current youth protection, or now it's the safeguarding youth training that has started about 2 months ago. Either of those is still valid as long as you have a youth protection training certificate from prior to when safeguarding youth started, and that the date on your card is still valid. Then your training is still valid until next May, is when that card will expire and safeguarding youth will become mandatory for everyone. But either training is acceptable for summer camp this year. All adults also need to be registered to your unit with Scouting America. So if you have an adult that's staying overnight and escorting the troops to camp, they need to be registered to your troop as a committee member, an assistant scoutmaster, or some other registered position within that troop. We will have wristbands that identify those who are registered to be in camp. The adults that are staying as part of the troop leadership will get one of these, similar to this one, kind of the fancy silicone wristbands that they get to keep for the weekend. It's a souvenir of your experience when you leave. Other guests that are just joining us for a short period of time, such as those that are attending the family night barbecue, will get one of those Tyvek bracelets like you get at the fair for designating that they have checked in with us at the office. Um, the There's also a camper release form. If any of your scouts need to leave at any time during the week before the end of the week on Saturday, we have a camper release form that needs to be filled out by and signed by the parent, and also signed by the unit leader of one of the unit leaders of the troop that's in camp. And we ask for that unit leader's signature so that we close the loop on that communication and make sure that the unit leader knows that that scout is leaving. If you show up to pick up a scout to take them to a baseball game and the scoutmaster doesn't know anything about it, and he comes to me and says, "Hey, we've got a missing scout. We've got a problem." So we want to make sure that all parties have signed off on the awareness of that scout is leaving camp, even if it's just for a little while, or if they're leaving to go home early for the rest of the week and not coming back. Either way. Um, One thing I meant to mention a couple bullets ago, in addition to the youth protection for scouting, all adults that are staying in camp do need to go through the New York State background check process through the Department of Criminal Justice Services Sex Offender Registry. That's a process that we provide that service for free. All we need is the adults need to have been either registered in Black Pug as one of the adult leaders that's coming to camp, in which case we got you. We got your name and information. We captured that data. Or if you're not, because sometimes troops have, let's say their second adult is actually going to be multiple adults that are trading off during the week. So you registered one adult in Black Pug just to say, yes, here's our second adult, but that person is actually only going to be there Monday and Tuesday, and somebody else is coming in Wednesday and Thursday, et cetera. Those additional adults or any other adults that you feel might possibly choose to come to camp to stay, we have a Google form that is used for this purpose, and it's right on the front page of the camp website at rsrbsa.org. You just go in and put your name and date of birth in there, and we will take care of that background check. If you have not been entered onto one of those two, or you know of any adults that have not been entered onto one of those two documents, I ask that you please do so within the next 24 hours so that we can then run the background check late this week. It does take a little bit of time to send that to the state office and get that information back, and it is not something that we can do on a Sunday afternoon or an evening next week, because we have to contact a state office to do that in their home. They're not on duty at that time. So if we have adults that come in on Sunday afternoon that have not been background checked, we have to deny them the ability to stay overnight. So if we could take care of that this week within the next 24 hours so that we can run that report on Wednesday, that would be best for everyone involved. We do also encourage everyone to use the buddy system throughout camp. This is required for youth, encouraged for adults, right? And adults traveling in pairs is always good. You never know when you're going to twist an ankle on the trail and might need some support. We use a sign in, sign out system throughout camp as well for the youth and for the adults to a degree. And so when scouts go to a program area, they will sign in and sign out of the different program areas as they go through. To the question about submission of the background checks, if you haven't heard anything and you submitted it a while back, you're clear. You're good. We submit several hundred names, and as long as nothing comes back with a hit, then everybody's happy. So yes, no news is good news in this regard. Some emergency procedures information. We have two sirens that we use here in camp, and I will go over this with the scouts on Monday morning at breakfast. We don't usually do this on Sunday night just because there's a lot going on Sunday night, so we share this with you so you can share it with them. There is the first siren is what we would use in the event of we need to get everybody together to take attendance because we might have a lost camper or a lost bather or a similar type of emergency situation. That siren will go off for a minute or longer. You'll hear it. It just keeps going. And we need everybody in that situation to assemble at what we call the Tuscadaga field, which is the field that is right in between Tuscarora and Onondaga campsites, right in front of Tusk. So we'll have all the troops line up and take attendance and remain standing. When all of the troop has assembled, and that includes the adult leaders as well as youth, we ask you to sit down or squat down if it's wet so that we can look across the field real quick and see which troops are still waiting on folks and which ones have everybody assembled. That siren will also go off very briefly for only a second or two every morning at 7 a.m., just as a little bit of a wake-up call and also a test of the system to make sure that our siren is still working well. The second siren that we use is we call it the Yelp, and this is one that sounds a lot more like an emergency vehicle, like an ambulance or a police car. And we use that siren in the event that we've got some severe weather headed our way and we need folks to get to a shelter. So in that case, we're not going to go to the field. We're going to go to either the dining hall or Seneca Lodge, which is the building down at the waterfront. And staff will be gathered in both of those locations to take attendance and to make sure that we've got everybody accounted for. We do ask that everyone, whether it be scouts or adult leaders, that you go to whichever of those two locations is closer to where you are when you hear the siren, because in that case, we want to get you to shelter as quickly as possible. We will take attendance in both locations and we will combine those attendances to make sure, working with the adult leaders, that we've got everybody accounted for in those spaces. The third scenario that we talk about with the leaders here is unfortunately, in the nature of the times, in an active shooter scenario or intruder scenario. In that case, we don't have a third siren to be able to utilize to that, but we do have radio communication amongst the staff. We have a remind alert system that we use, and I'll be talking more about that in a minute, that adult leaders in camp can sign up for. We would communicate through those means to alert people to go to. Essentially, in that case, we don't have what the terminology would be hardened facilities. We don't have places that are, those durable facilities. So the solution in that case is to literally run into the woods, to get your buddies and just run into the woods as far as you can. And law enforcement would bring everybody back with their megaphones and sirens and et cetera, if that situation should ever be warranted. When you check in, I will give a strip of flagging tape to every adult leader, and we ask that you tie that around the outrigger of your tent, or if you're in a lean-to, just tie it around the bunk that you're sleeping in, and that helps us, that designates where the leader is staying. We use this in case there's an emergency that happens at night. It could be a severe weather situation where people may not hear the siren because it's already raining and thundering and very noisy out. So staff will go out in vehicles to each campsite, and the first place we're going to go is to the adult leader to get you up, to help you get everybody else up and moving to the shelters. It also could be if we get an emergency phone call from home in the middle of the night where a parent needs to come pick up a scout or something along those lines. Rather than stand in the middle of the site and calling out that scout's name, we're going to go right to the leader and help you to get that scout so that we can make that contact. So that's what that tape is for, that we're going to give you during your check-in on Sunday. This is a picture of our health officer, Josh Clark. I put that up there so you can get to see him and know who he is and recognize Josh as our health officer in case you need him at all during the week. A couple of health and safety items to talk about. All medications that are brought to camp do need to be in their original containers. This does include over-the-counter medications. We cannot accept those like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday pill container thingies that people use. That's great for your kitchen table, but we need to have everything in the original containers. That includes any prescription medications do need to be labeled with the prescription with the name of the scout. Sometimes we get situations where a scout comes in and they may have a particular medication that their parent or a sibling also takes that medication, and they're like, we just share the bottle. It's all the same thing. We do it for everybody. It needs to be the medication prescription with that scout's name on it. We do have three AED locations. Oh, let me fin on the medication point. Medications are typically made available to the scouts at mealtime. If scouts need a different schedule with that, some need it to take it right before bed or maybe right when they first wake up in the morning. Josh will work that out with you, and he will, for bedtime medications, he will go right to the campsite and deliver that medication to that scout at a designated time that they agree to. But most medications are taken at meals, and so right at the end of the meal, scouts can go over and see him, and he will have the medications available for them. We do have three AEDs in camp that, should we ever need them, are available. One is in the camp office in the conference room. The second one is at the waterfront down in the ice house. And the third one is travels with Josh, goes with him wherever he goes in his vehicle. So those are the three areas to get that. One message that Josh asked me to pass along to everybody is just a reminder, and we will have QR codes available for this. Um, if the troop provides um, treatment for a minor injury or minor illness in the campsite. Somebody gets a small cut and Scoutmaster's got a Band-Aid or use the troop first aid kit to give them a little bit of treatment there. That's fine. You can do that, but we do need that reported so that we can enter that into our health and safety log. So if the injury has been treated, if the illness has been treated, it does not need to be immediate. You do not need to wake Josh up at 2 o'clock in the morning to let him know that we've just put on a Band-Aid. But first thing the next morning when you see him at breakfast, just give him a heads up or use the QR code that we'll have posted, and you can report it to him through a Google form that we have that lets us document any sort of treatment of injuries or illnesses in the site. Other health and safety items, I talked before about limiting vehicles in the campsites. Please don't take them into the sites themselves. Leave them out at the entrance to the site. The speed limit, as soon as you hit the dirt road at the entrance to camp where it transitions from pavement to a dirt road, that's the ranger's house. From that spot on all the way through the rest of camp, it's a 10-mile-per-hour speed limit. And we ask you to please obey that limit as you're going through camp. And keep vehicles out of campsites as well as out of grassy areas. I think everybody in the Capital District is aware now that we've had, until last weekend, we'd had rain every weekend since November. So everyone's talking about that. So we do have areas and fields that are still a little soupy, a lot of clay up here, and we don't want vehicles turning up big ruts that are going to make it difficult to mow later and leave the areas less beautiful than they were. Also, from a safety standpoint, please no riders in the backs of pickup trucks or on trailers. Something that's unfortunately a regular risk in scouting activities nationwide. All right, so for communication, I talked about the Remind alert system. I'm sure some of you may use Remind for schools or other activities that you're involved in. It's a free app that you can use to receive messages. One thing that they've changed since last year, we've been using this for a few years now, but one thing that's been changed since last year is they're saying that they no longer will provide a text alert. It's got to be a notification alert from the app. So if you previously used it as a text alert, you may have to download the app and set up notifications on your phone for this. But if you have Remind, or if you don't, you can text @2 RSR BSA 25 to the number 81010 on a cell phone, and that will set up the Remind alerts. If you have the app on your phone already, you can just add that class number, the same one that's on your screen right there, and that will get you notifications throughout the week. We do not carpet bomb the Remind with a lot of notifications during the day, but it's very useful for when we have information to share and reminders about picking up trash and things of that sort for the troops that are in camp. Other forms of communication that we have available for you, our assistant ranger and camp historian, Ed Keelan, publishes a daily newspaper of humorous bits and schedules and all sorts of information about camp called the Firestarter. That goes to the breakfast tables every morning, but it's also available online. If parents want to follow this, they can. He posts this on Facebook. There's a link on his page. If you go to Ed Keelan's Facebook page, Ed Keelan, Rotary Scout Reservation History. I'm typing his name into the chat there so you can see it to look it up. It's the Rotary Scout Reservation history is kind of in parentheses after that, so you know you got the right one. He just today posted the Google Drive, and that's where all these newspapers get posted up in there, so you can follow the links and see what the scouts are doing while they're at camp. There's also some ways that you can reach out to us via email. My email address is campdirector@rsrbsa.org. Quinn's email as our program director is the same format, program director, no spaces, at rsrbsa.org. I'm going to talk about food in a second, but our cook, Sean, is available at food@rsrbsa.org. And Josh, the head health officer, is medical@rsrbsa.org. So you can reach out to us via those email systems. Currently, our landline phone line is down. We've got a line got taken out by a tree. But we are expecting the phone company to be arriving tomorrow to fix that. So hopefully that will not be a situation by the time you all get to camp next week. All right, dining services. We run a buffet style food service, 3 meals a day at 8 o'clock, 12:30, and 6 o'clock. Sean, our wonderful cook, is back with us for another season. This is, I think, his 5th season with us, and he does a great job for us. And if scouts or leaders have food allergies or dietary restrictions, I've posted the QR code there. You can hit that on the screen. It's also available on our website and in the leader guide. And the more information we can get as early as possible, the better. So if you have anybody that's coming in next week, yourselves or others that have food allergies or dietary restrictions, please have them fill out that Google form as soon as possible so that Sean can prepare for alternatives for whatever we may be serving on a particular meal. Wednesday lunch is in the campsites, and there is optional patrol cooking at other times during the week. On Sunday check-in, you'll be given essentially an a la carte menu that the units can choose from if they want to cook out in a campsite for whatever, Tuesday lunch, Thursday dinner, anything basically between Monday breakfast and Friday dinner. That is available and optional. We just ask you to give it to Sean with at least 24 hours notice so that he can make sure that we've got everything you need for that meal. We deliver the meal to your site for Wednesday lunch, as well as any of these optional patrol cooking activities, and just ask you to bring the buckets back to the dining hall after you're done. We also collect the garbage Monday through Friday from your campsites. We will go around after dinner and make sure that's picked up. Even if it's just a little bit, we ask that you go ahead and put it outside the entrance to your campsite before you come down to dinner. The reason we ask you to do that is because what does everybody do right after dinner? They scatter to all the fun and exciting evening programs that we have going on, and nobody put the trash out. So when we come around to pick it all up, it's not there. So we'll send out a reminder, but we ask folks to put the trash out before you come down to dinner. And if you're cooking out dinner, we still aren't coming until after dinner, so you still got time. But do that and we'll take care of that. So please place it out by 6 o'clock. Wednesday night is our family night barbecue. Service on the barbecue begins at 6 o'clock. Family can begin arriving earlier than that, but we'll start serving the meal at 6 o'clock. And tickets are available online. So the tickets are available through the council calendar. If you go to trcscouting.org/calendar, you'll be able to find the Wednesday night barbecue right on there, and you can go in there and purchase your tickets for guests. This isn't for the campers or the adult leaders that are already in camp. They're taken care of. That's their meal for Wednesday night. But this is for any guests that might be joining us, family members that were coming up to come up for the night. They can purchase their tickets online at that website. The cost is $18 plus a credit card fee for 11 and up, $15 for age 10 and under. The meal is, as you can see in the picture there, either a choice of pig roast or chicken barbecue. We do both. With assorted sides, we have coleslaw, corn on the cob, beans, pasta salad, watermelon. So it's a good meal there. There's a question about the letting Sean know about the meals for Inside Cooking. We just ask for 24 hours notice just to make sure that he's got time to make sure he has everything on hand that he needs for that meal. On the Friday night, or excuse me, the family night barbecue, the Wednesday night barbecue, as with any other time during the week, guests do need to check in at the office. Sometimes we oftentimes on parents' night get folks that want to just walk right past the office because they're coming in late and they want to head straight to the barbecue. We do need you to check in at the office, whether or not you are partaking in the barbecue. Some family members like to just come up and see the scouts, but aren't necessarily interested in the barbecue. That's fine. You're welcome to do that too. But if you purchase your tickets online, you're actually going to pick them up in the office. So you're basically reserving the tickets and you come in. And if you're not participating in the barbecue, still need you to check in the office. That's when you get your visitor wristband and we know who's on the property. The yeah, this barbecue is the meal for the campers. They do not need to pay. This is the campers and any adult leaders that are already in camp as part of the supervision. They do not need to pay for this. This is your dinner on Wednesday. This prices that we're talking about are just for the guests that are coming in to join them. We then have a campfire that follows, so you have time to um, uh, after the barbecue is over, we have retreat, usually around 7 to 7:15, depending on how long it takes us to get through the service of the meal. And then you've got about an hour-ish to check out the trading post, go visit the campsite, go check out program areas maybe that the scout wants to show off to you. And then at about 8 o'clock, 8:15, we will have our campfire. Which is largely put on by the scouts that night. Most of the performances are by the scouts for the Wednesday night campfire. So it's a good time and conveniently for folks, for the families. The campfire area is right next to the parking lot, so it's easy for you to be able to evacuate after the campfire is over. Uh, Troop photos are taken on Monday night after dinner. I just took this week's troop photos, and if you are interested in purchasing photos, they are $10 each. They come printed up in a fancy frame and everything, a graphic with the text of the troop number and stuff on there. One of the things that the two questions that I will ask for the adult leaders when we are taking the photos. One, how many pictures do you want to have printed? Because we do get them ordered and sent back. They get printed out in, I think it's Arizona or New Mexico or someplace, and they get shipped back to us by the end of the week. It's the wonders of modern technology. So I need to know the number of photos, and if you would like to have your chartered organization's name printed on the photo, that's totally optional. But if you do want that, you just need to know what that is so you can tell me, so we can put that on there. You can cheat and look at the flag; it's usually printed right on there. But that's totally an option for you. Okay, our camp liaisons, folks that are going to be working with us and working with you to make sure your visit is a good one. We'll go around and do a daily campsite visit to check out the health and safety. You have a list of standards that'll be in your packet of what we're looking for in the campsite for cleanliness and service project opportunities and things like that. You can earn scores based on that. The top score on the campsite inspection each day has the honor of being the honor troop of the day, and they will retire the colors at the flag ceremony, the retreat ceremony before dinner. And the next morning, we'll handle the flag ceremony in the morning and raise their troop flag on the parade field. So that's the reward for top score. They're also an important conduit of communication between the troops and their campsite comfort and safety, and with me and the other camp administrators. One tip that we do ask that we share with the units is when cleaning the latrines, which is one of the tasks of the daily process of living in the campsite. We ask that each latrine has a bin of wood shavings. We ask that you take one scout-sized handful. So it doesn't have to be the Scoutmaster's size handful. A scout-size handful is great. Down each sitting hole, not the urinal, but each sitting hole each day. And that helps the composting process and helps to keep the smell down. The other thing, keep smell down, keeping the lid down. Let the latrine design do its work. We do have a quartermaster that is available if you need supplies during the week. We have some cooking supplies. We have supplies that folks might need if they're doing a service project. We have worms for fishing. All of that is available at the quartermaster. And the quartermaster is in the same building as the trading post, and it is open anytime that the trading post is open. The one thing that we ask, though, because Janet, our wonderful trading post director, runs both sides of the shop, and it's literally physically two sides of the building. Please, if you need things, don't go in during that first 20 or 30 minutes after she opens after a meal because that's the slushy run. And it's really hard for her to leave the counter to go and get those other supplies. But once that slushy run is over and the scouts have gone off to their programs, she's got all the time in the world to help you with the supplies that you need. Also, if you need things like toilet paper, garbage bags, those basic staple items, we have those in the office as well, and we'd be happy to provide those to you. All right. So this is talk about some of the program stuff. Quinn always gets to talk about the fun stuff. So tonight I get to do that for him. We do have merit badge pamphlets available in the camp program areas, so nobody needs to purchase them. And in fact, National just unveiled recently that they've all gone digital and online, so they're available that way too. But we do have them in the program areas, and scouts, if they wish, can check them out and borrow them for the time that they're in camp. We do have a verification form. It's just a fancy form. It could be a letter, it could be anything, but we do provide a letter of form for you on the website under the resources tab of the camp website. If you have scouts that have completed certain prerequisite requirements before camp, rather than having to have, maybe 6 or 7 different documents, you can put them all on one sheet and just hand it to me, and I'll photocopy it and give it to the relevant area directors to let them know, yes, they completed their 20 nights of camping, or yes, they did their whatever the different prerequisites that may exist for different merit badges. The merit badges are being recorded in Blackpug. Some of them are being updated daily. It varies because our program areas have different levels of access to the internet in their program areas, but they will be updated by Wednesday lunch. And then again, of course, at the end of the week, you will be able to see the progress reports on where the scouts are. But that Wednesday lunch check-in, all merit badge records will be up to date as of that time, and we will have that available. You can look at it through Blackpug for the unit contact. Reservation contact has access to look at it through Blackpug, and we will have them available here in the office. All right, so some of our fun program activities. We have campfires on Sunday and Wednesday night. As I said, Wednesday night is the one that the scouts put on. We have a camp-wide game on Tuesday that is using the theme of racing towards success. That's going to have a whole bunch of different games and activities based around kind of in the vicinity of Seneca Lodge and Scoutcraft and ecology down there. We have various open programs throughout the week. Each day, the 4 to 5 o'clock hour and then 7 o'clock till dark are open program times where there aren't typically very many merit badges offered during that time, but we have other activities that are being offered. You could have, depending upon the day, the evening, we could have tomahawks throwing, we could have bouldering, scout skill games. There's trail to first class takeout. If you have scouts that they've completed a bunch of the requirements for tenderfoot second class, first class, so they don't really need to take trail to first class because that would be kind of duplicating stuff that they've already done, but maybe there's those couple of requirements that they're still missing. Our TTFC staff will be happy to come make it an arrangement to meet with them either in the site or in your campsite to try to knock out a couple of those requirements on a more limited basis. We do have a LNT, that's Leave No Trace Awareness Award and Games. We have a couple of new facilities and programs that we put in place this year. Last year, we added a giant chessboard and we put in a pickleball court that was incredibly popular last year as well, expanded the size of the basketball court. This year, we've added a remote control car track as well as disc golf, a 9-hole disc golf course for which scouts can sign up for golf merit badge and could actually complete golf merit badge by doing disc golf rather than going out onto their, local links. We have Polar Bear Swim. That's an early bird swim at 6:30 a.m. down at the waterfront on Tuesday and Thursday for those hardy souls that want to get up at that hour to go for a swim. Paul Bunyan Award activities. This is kind of a woodsman award that there are various skills that are involved in that activity that is offered throughout the week. To Ryan's question, yes, you can bring your own RC cars. We have RC cars. They're big and big tires, kind of meant to travel over rough terrain. That we have a track, we've got a platform. I'll show you a picture of it momentarily here. That the scouts can stand on the platform and the track goes all around them, and they can run the cars around through that. We do have cars that are available for basically to be checked out at the camp office, and they use them. We do need adult supervision with that. Make sure that they have an adult with them when they're using the cars. But yes, if scouts have their own RC cars and they want to bring them, they can certainly do that. Viv, I don't know off the top of my head the dimensions of the RC car track. It's pretty good size. It's not a little, you're just not going around in a little dinky circle around the platform. It's pretty good size. The basketball court is not full size regulation, but it is the size of a pickleball court. So whatever the size that is, because I don't remember that off the top of my head. If you want to look up the size of a regulation pickleball court, it's just a little bit bigger than that. So we've got the pickleball court with the hoops on both ends, and scouts can use it for either activity. That picture that you see right there, that's the platform in the middle of the RC car track. So it goes out far around that platform. The scouts can go stand on that and have the ability to see the track in 360. Um, Quinn's developed a new Super Troop Award for this year. This is to encourage participation in our open programs and various optional activities throughout the week. You will see when you check in, you'll get a checklist of a whole bunch of different activities, each of which has different points available to it that members of the patrol or troop can participate in. This includes adults. They are part of the Super Troop Award as well. And whoever has the top score at the end of the week is the Super Troop for the week. And so we have a nice kind of a competitive challenge to encourage participation in these various activities. There's a picture of the giant chessboard that I mentioned that we put in last year, full-size chessboard out in front of the trading post. Some other adult programs and trainings that we offer. We have aquatic supervision. This is a program that is available for adults that might be interested in this. It's from 3:30 to 4:30 Monday through Friday, and there's two parts to it. There's swimming and water rescue and paddlecraft safety. And if you do the full week, you would get both certifications for the aquatic supervision. There's also a merit badge completion day on August 10th. Should any scouts not complete any merit badge requirements or any merit badges that we offer, with the exception of the STEM badges, we offer the opportunity for a makeup day on August 10th to come in and try to knock out those last few requirements. Sometimes maybe scouts may, for example, one is sometimes scouts struggle to get the points that they need for the archery merit badge, and so they just need more shooting time. They just need more time, and they could come in that day to do that. Um, I'm not sure the question about shooting water at other boats. We don't have that. I'm not sure what that's. We have RC cars that are running around a track, but we don't have any means or ability to shoot water at our boats. So I'm not sure where that one came from. Um, there was some. I know we've had some. I've gotten some emails and such from folks asking about the Introduction to Outdoor Leadership Skills training course for adult leaders. At this point, it does not look like we will be able to offer that next week. We are totally dependent on that course to volunteers from the council training committee. They were able to get volunteers for this week, week 3, and week 5 rather. But there was nobody available next week, week 2, to teach that course. However, again, we are doing it this week, week 3, and week 5. And if folks want to come in to take that training course, it's basically from 9 to 5 on Tuesday and Thursday. You are welcome to do so. You don't have to be registered to come to camp at that time to come in to take that course. You do still need to sign in the office, and then you can go to take that, and then you could just purchase a ticket for lunch if you'd like, or you could bring your own lunch. So sorry that we do not have that for week 2, but we are reliant on the volunteers for that. We do provide pickleball paddles. We provide the balls for that. We do appreciate when the scouts treat the paddles well. We go through a lot of them and wish that was not the case. But we do have pickleball paddles for the scouts to use. Um, uh, yes, let me talk about STEM here. For STEM week, our STEM week program is August 3rd through 9th, which is our week 5. There's chess merit badge, electricity merit badge, nuclear science merit badge, healthcare professions, and 2 Nova awards, Mendel's Minions and Nova Start Your Engines, which kind of goes along nicely with our new racetrack there. There are not many prerequisites for this. I think there are 1 or 2, and we will get that information out to folks, but the number of prerequisites for those are limited. This is a great opportunity for scouts to come back. We know if you're on the call tonight, it's because you're planning on being in camp next week, but we do have a second week discounted rate for scouts that want to come back and do a second week of camp. It's just $400 for the week. And with that, we tend to get a lot of provisional scouts that week. Provisional scouts are those who are attending camp without an adult leader. And so they may not be coming with their home troop, but they come on their own or maybe with a buddy. You can get a couple of the guys from the troop or come the girls from the troop to come together, and we place them together in a provisional troop with staff leadership for that week and supervision. So it's a great activity. It's a great program. We offer the entire merit badge program that we offer the other weeks, and then add these on top of it. So it's a camp plus kind of a thing. And great to see that excitement in the chat there about excitement about getting to camp. Today was our first full day of camp. We had the scouts come in yesterday, midway through the day for check-in. Today's our first full day, and it feels great to be back. I've mentioned Black Pug before. That's the system that folks use to sign up for camp and to sign up for merit badges. It's also where merit badge registrations will initially be tracked. At the end of the week, I will export all of the merit badge requirements completed from Black Pug into Scoutbook. Scoutbook is the tool that most units use for tracking their advancement. We will export all this into that. You won't have to do any of that. There's a little bit that you'll have to do, and this is because the Black Pug to Scoutbook transition does not allow us to export non-merit badges. So there are a few scouting awards. I'm thinking of things like snorkeling BSA or mile swim or things like that that are not merit badges. Those are not for whatever reason on the technology side, the back end, those cannot be uploaded. So those would be things that the unit leader would have to input directly into Scoutbook. But you have that information. You will continue to have that information in Black Pug. The reservation contact or registration contact, I should say, at any point can go into their registration and they'll see this roster page like on the screen right here. And up at the top where you got the three tabs, one of which says reports, click on that reports tab and it'll show you the records of everything that scouts are working on while at camp and then when you're done. And I will offer a Black Pug training to adults. I think it's Thursday after lunch for anybody that is interested and wants to learn more about Black Pug and how to use all the various tools that it has and where to find everything. So not super exciting for the kids, but we will offer that training for the adults who need it. On the topic of adults and adult supervision, I kind of want to wrap up with just a little bit of an appeal for some help. Adult supervision is an important part of the scouting program. It's one of the methods of scouting officially, and we do ask you to help us as a force multiplier, if you will, for supervising the scouts. And we encourage adults to help supervise groups of scouts, particularly when they are heading to common areas. The times when we tend to get the most, shall we say, unscout-like behavior is when large groups of scouts are maybe headed to the shower house together, or we've started to kind of build up this area between the trading post and the shower house where we've got the basketball, pickleball court, we've got the chessboard, we've now moved the gaga ball pit up there. There's some other activities up there. So it's great. It's a great place for the scouts to hang out, to see each other, to talk to scouts from other troops. It's fantastic. It also requires a little bit of active supervision for perhaps obvious reasons. So if you've got groups of scouts from your troop headed down to those areas, we really appreciate it because those are not staffed programs. They're programs that the scouts can use anytime they want when they're on free time. We ask that you send an adult down to just keep an eye on things and just to keep make sure that everything's going well in those areas. You're also welcome to help out, in program areas. And, if you have expertise and want to lend your help to something like that. We love it when we get professionals that can come in. We've got a professional photographer who's coming in once or twice a week to talk to the photography class and go over some stuff with them, bring his life experience and skills into the classroom. And if you've got that we'd love to have that. And this is also one of the points gaining activities for the Super Troop program. So you can earn some points for your troop if you help out in a program area. I do want to mention one thing about that is a little bit of a program change from previous years, and that is regarding the outpost campout. So we have kind of re-examined the outpost campout experience and some of the logistics and staffing requirements for that program and are making a few changes to that. So typically in the past, the outpost would be for scouts that are taking camping merit badge and wilderness survival merit badge. The scouts taking camping merit badge don't actually need to go on an outpost, and we have reached a point where we don't feel that we can adequately and safely provide the supervision necessary to support camping merit badge going on the outpost. So they will not be doing the outpost. Now, in the past, they would sometimes get some requirements done during that outpost hike. They are still going to get all those requirements done during their merit badge sessions, just not on the outpost, with one exception, and that's the 4 mile hike. They won't do that during the training session, so they won't be doing that as part of the outpost. Oftentimes, scouts have already completed that 4 mile hike. The 4 mile hike is one option on a list of about 4 or 5 different activities that a scout needs to complete on a camping trip. And oftentimes, scouts have already completed 1 or 2 of those activities in previous outings with their troop. If not, if the troop wants to organize a 4 mile hike while they're at camp, we've got a great, well groomed, well labeled trail system. But we are not going to be doing that as part of an outpost for that. So the other part of it is we are looking to do the outpost for wilderness survival. That is more a part of the wilderness survival experience there. So for wilderness survival, they don't bring. I see a question about backpacks. The campers were the they're not going to need it for an outpost. They're not going to need the backpacks for an outpost, so because they're not going on the outpost. So they wouldn't really need, if you're doing camping merit badge, they wouldn't need a backpack to bring to the sessions. For wilderness survival, they don't need backpacks either because they have to build their shelter and they have minimal stuff that they're bringing with them. It's survival, so we are still planning to do the wilderness survival outpost on Thursday night. However, in order to make it work, we do need some adults to help. We have a limited number of staff that are able to do the overnight. They are going to be doing it. We have some leadership from senior staff members that will be participating in the outpost. But in order to make it work, we need 1 or 2 adult leaders to be willing to go along, particularly if we have any female scouts that are participating in the overnight. We will not have a female adult to be able to go on the outpost. So if there are any females on it, we will be looking and asking if there are any adult females that would be willing to go on the outpost. Same thing with just any 1 or 2 adults to support that. We can provide some camping equipment for that adult. We have tents. If dinner is delivered out to the site by our cook, so food will be provided. There's a latrine there. There's running water. It's not that far away from Seneca Lodge, the outpost site. So we can make it as easy for you as possible, but you would not have to share a tent with anyone. We can provide you with a tent, or you're welcome to bring your own gear. If you want to bring your own tent out because you've got something that you're comfortable with, you can certainly do that. But we do have enough tents that we can provide adults with a tent, and they would not need to share that with anybody. So if there's anybody that is interested and willing to help us out to provide that experience, then thank you, Christine. Then that would be great. So looks like we've got a female leader ready to go for that. So that helps with one check. I don't know if we have any girls signed up next week, but either way, that's great. And anybody else wants to just shoot me an email or Quinn an email, we can take that, and that'd be outstanding. We appreciate that support. So with that, that's everything that I had to share and relay to you. So this would be a time, if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself and ask the question, or I can keep watching the chat box there and answer any questions that folks may have that we didn't get a chance to talk about this evening.
How far are the vehicles going to be from the campsite, and will we have access to?
Distance from the vehicles to the campsite varies obviously by which campsite you're in, but it's not that far, and you will have access anytime you want to the parking lot. So, yep, you can do that. Got a request to share the slide with the email addresses, so I'll put that up there. These are also contact information is posted on our camp website as well. But also for that QR code I had for the food, it would be the best way. That puts your information directly into a form that Sean has access to for the any dietary needs or allergies or things like that. The swim test question, I'm going to have to look into that one as far as the exit because I'm going to say yes, most likely. You would just have to leave the swimmers area and come around the dock. But I do want to double check with my health officer, or sorry, my aquatics director on that to confirm that answer. There is if you go to our camp website, rsrbsa.org, and I'll throw that in the chat. There is a tab across the top that says resources. Click on that tab and go down, and you will have the first thing that you'll see on there is a copy of our camp leader and parent planning guide. So it's a long document. Well, it's not that long, but it has a lot of information in it. It's got the link to the QR code for food stuff. It's got a list of suggested items to bring to camp, recommended packing. Obviously, every scout is a little bit different in what they need, but we have some suggested things that they might want to bring to camp. There's information in program schedules, merit badge opportunities, things of all that sort. All of that stuff is available in that document. And if you go further down that page, you will see most of the documents that are going to be given to you on Sunday as part of the Scoutmasters packet. So that stuff's there. You can get that in advance. All of that's on there. This video, for anybody that couldn't make it tonight, we are recording this presentation and I will be posting it to the camp's YouTube page. So I will blast that link out once that's posted at some point in the next 24 hours or so. And so anybody that couldn't make it tonight can go to the YouTube page and watch this video here. Swim tests are on Sunday afternoon. Basically, the process is the troop guide comes down, takes you to the campsite, drop your gear, change into the swim trunks, go through the med checks process, and then from there, pretty directly, unless there's a little bit of a backup at the waterfront, they'll either take you directly to the waterfront for your swim tests, or the waterfront staff may say, "Hey, give us 10 minutes, and you'll hit a couple spots on the tour, and then go to the waterfront." And then after the swim tests are over, the guide will take you back to the site to change, and then complete the rest of the camp tour. Great to see that there's female scouts doing wilderness survival, and it sounds like we have a willing female leader, so that's awesome. So we can definitely accommodate that. Website I put in there, and the family barbecue. Let me just put up the link there. Well, I can, yeah. There's the information on the family barbecue. And the tickets are available at trcscouting.org/calendar. So if you go to /calendar on that page, or just follow the link for the calendar, if you go from the homepage, you'll see the Wednesday of next week. The date is on there. You get the barbecue, you go right in there, and you can purchase the tickets online ahead of time. There's also a link that's going to be emailed out to you. I've already pre-programmed on Sunday afternoon. Everybody that's registered is going to be getting a link to the barbecue link. So if you don't get it by then, you'll see it in your email inbox on Sunday. Other questions?
Yes, I have
Go ahead.
one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I recently just had a Rotary camp out. I saw when I went there, they showed me or us the camp location and everything, and they gave us a
Okay.
tour. I
Okay.
saw like the beds, like almost like more like bed racks and everything. Like, are we able to use those, or just those are just for special
Yeah.
occasions?
Not just for special occasions. Yeah. So thanks for the question. So that's great. You teed me up nicely. So one of the improvements that we put in for camp this year is that we have new bunks in the lean-tos. So, and those have nice thick mattresses on them. So not every campsite has lean-tos. Most of them do. I'm trying to think. I think it's about 6 of the 10, give or take, have lean-tos. No campsite is entirely lean-tos. The most is 4 lean-tos in one site. Others are 2 or 3, or one campsite only has 1 lean-to. But if you have lean-tos in your campsite, you have these new bunks with the mattresses, and anyone's welcome to use those. The rest of the accommodations are tents, similar to what I showed on one of the other slides somewhere back here. Might have gone the other direction. Yep, no, it's the other direction. But the other material we have for sleeping are the tents that are the 9-foot by 7-foot square wall tents with 2 cots in them, and those are nice accommodations as well. Question about the electricity at the campsites. That also varies, depends on which campsites. So the ones that have electricity delivered to the sites are Algonquin, Shindaku, Oneida, and Iroquois. And yes, Algonquin, Oneida, Shindaku, and Iroquois. They are close enough to a power line that we were able to extend power to those. We know that we have, for example, we often have requests for power for CPAP machines, and we prioritize those folks going to those sites for that access. The other sites are too far away. We don't have power able to be delivered to those sites. We do, however, if there are people in those sites that have a medical need, like CPAP machines, we do have a couple of the large portable batteries that can be charged and we can taken out and used and is charged each day and brought out for that purpose. So some sites, yes, but not all of the sites have electricity.
So like I can't remember, but like can we choose like what tent we sleep in and also like who we like sleep with, I guess?
So that's a great question. And that is a unit level decision. So we are not involved in that. So your scoutmaster will work with you on that. There are some scouting rules around that sort of stuff. Obviously, boys and girls can't share a tent together. Adults and youth can't share a tent together. And there's also a rule that says that scouts that are more than 2 years apart cannot share a tent together. Now, there is one exception that came around. I think it was last fall they introduced this, which units may or may not be aware of, which is that they did now allow siblings of the same gender that are more than 2 years apart can share a tent. That's the exception to the 2 year rule. Whether you and your sibling like that rule or changed or not, that's up to you guys. But as far as who sleeps in what tents, that is, we leave that up to the unit leaders to work with you guys on that.
Um, it's like how long do we have transitions? Because I looked at the schedule like for quick. Like how long is it for transitions? Or is it like
It's
a ABC day
so
transition
the schedules,
thingy?
yeah. So the schedule, good question. So the schedule's the same every day for the merit badges. So if you sign up, let's say you sign up for 9 o'clock camping, you go to camping at 9 o'clock Monday through Friday, and uh, the instructors will typically dismiss 5 to 10 minutes before the top of the hour so that you can get to the next class at that time. So, and all our classes, some of them are 30, some of them are an hour, some are an hour and a half. We got a few that are a half hour. We've got one or two that are 2 hours. So they kind of all vary in terms of their lengths. So, but they generally will give you about 5 to 10 minutes to get to the next location. And the program spaces, we kind of have a couple of, I sometimes refer to them as campuses. There's distance between the campuses, but there's 2 or 3 programs in each campus or cluster. So aquatics, scoutcraft, ecology, and trail to first class are all right next to each other. It's a 1 minute walk between any of those 4 spots. The archery and shotgun rifle ranges are pretty close to each other. So that's kind of another area. The handicrafts and community safety areas are right next door to each other. So that's a 30-second walk from one to the other. So you've got some areas that are really close to each other, some that might be more like a 5 minute walk. If you're going from, let's say, the waterfront to handicrafts, that's maybe more of a 5 minute walk. But yeah, that's about when they let you out. Other
Is
questions?
there a specific time? Is there like a specific time that you have to be to bed, or can you go like of course, in the afternoon, like seven something? They're like, are you allowed to go to bed ahead of time, like before everyone else, or can you have to be in bed at a specific
You
time?
you are welcome to go to bed whenever you'd like. And get some rest. It's
Oh,
a
that's actually not.
long days and hot weather combined. Rest is a good thing. I wish I could go to bed earlier than I do. There's a bit of a siesta time after lunch, so you got a little bit of time after lunch before the 2 o'clock sessions start, so you can kind of relax a little bit. Or some folks, scouts will go to the pickleball court or basketball or whatever during that time period. In the evening, we have an evening program, and that is evening program. It varies a little bit by the program, but generally speaking, they go till dark. They go till dusk. Sometimes earlier than that, but some of them go till dusk. And from that point, when you go back to the campsite, I'm going to let your scoutmaster weigh in a little bit on bedtime rules and things of that sort. But the whatchamacallit, we do ask for to be quiet in the sites by 10 o'clock and to be respectful of the troops around you in the other campsites in terms of noise. Uh, they can they can bring sunscreen and bug spray. We do ask that there's a spot on the medical form, the Scout medical form on page B1. That's the second page of the medical form. There's a little grid there where you can list any medications that the Scout is taking. If you just write down on there bug spray and sunscreen, they can hold on to that and you sign it as the parent. They can use that. Other questions?
One more questions before, like, this is the last one. So again, what happens when there's a severe storm?
Mhm.
Like, where does everyone go again? Because I kind of missed
To the
that part.
That's okay. We go to the dining hall or to Seneca Lodge, which is the building
So,
down at the
like, where
waterfront.
do they?
What was that?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, dining hall or Seneca Lodge, and the staff will be there to keep an eye on everybody and entertain everybody while we're waiting out the storm. Be prepared to sing lots of songs. Other questions? I like having the scouts on. This is fun. We don't often have scouts joining, so I appreciate this. This is good stuff. You guys have great questions. Anybody else? All right. Well, I thank you for your time and attention tonight. We look forward to seeing the scouts on Sunday. What I'll do is I'll turn off the recording and I'll hang around here for another minute or two if anybody has any other questions that they wanted to ask without the recording or what have you. And have a great rest of your week. Stay cool. It's looking like it's going to be a scorcher the next couple of days, but hopefully it cools off a little bit for next week, and we'll see you out at camp.